All right, get ready for a deep dive, folks, because we're heading straight into a rugby match that's got everyone talking England versus Japan at Twickenham.
Oh, yeah, this one is going to be special.
And you know why?
Well, besides being a clash of rugby titans.
It's Eddie Jones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eddie Jones is back at Twickenham.
This time,
Yes, he's not coaching England.
no, he's leading Japan against his old team.
Can you imagine the tension?
Oh, I get England's on a 5-game losing streak, and Jones, you just know he's going to want to make that 6.
Now, we've got some really interesting sources for this deep dive. Some pretty candid stuff, actually.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, we've got some comments from Ellis Genge, England's prop. Remember him?
Of course, played under Jones.
Right, and he had some interesting things to say about Jones's coaching style. Interesting how. Spill the tea.
Well, again, you call Jones' approach masterful when it comes to
The
psychology.
gangsterful, huh?
But then he also mentioned some nightmare stories about Jones floating around.
Oh, so it wasn't all sunshine and roses then?
Sounds like Jones left quite an impression.
A memorable one, for sure.
And it wasn't just Genge, Danny Kerr, another former England player. He didn't hold back either.
What'd he say?
He called Jones's time as England coach toxic.
Wow! Straight up toxic.
Yeah, so we're talking about a complicated figure here.
Definitely someone who got results, but maybe not always in the best way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this match almost becomes a judgment on Jones's legacy.
Like a test. Was he a brilliant leader who pushed England to new heights, or was he just too abrasive and ultimately wore out his welcome?
Now, Genge seems to think that Jones is really looking forward to this match.
Oh, I bet he is. Facing his old team, trying to get one over on them.
Genge even predicted that Jones will have some trick plays ready to go.
Knowing Jones and his love for tactical surprises, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
What I found interesting is that Genge kind of acknowledged how good Jones is tactically, even while criticizing his methods.
Yeah, it's like a grudging respect, you
Yeah.
know, acknowledging the rugby brain, but not necessarily the man.
It's complicated for sure. But let's not forget, England's problems go beyond just dealing with their ex-coach.
True. They've lost to New Zealand, Australia, South Africa.
That's some of the toughest teams in the world.
Exactly. And those losses have put a ton of pressure on the current England squad.
They really need to break this losing streak.
Yeah, but facing a Japan team pumped up by Eddie Jones,
That's a tough ask.
it really is.
It's like Jones is the final boss they have to defeat to prove themselves.
I like that analogy.
But you know what? Genge, despite everything he went through with Jones, he's actually pretty optimistic about England's current state.
Really? How so?
He pointed out that they've been testing themselves against the best in the world, and they've come close to winning a few times.
Nick's got a point there.
Yeah, he sees improvement, even if the results haven't shown it yet.
So maybe those tough losses have been good for them, in a way.
Like they've been through a trial by fire, faced the best of the best.
And come out stronger.
Exactly. They might just have that resilience they need to beat Japan.
That's an interesting take, but to really get a sense of the challenge, we gotta talk about Japan's rise in the rugby world.
They've gone from underdogs to serious contenders.
It's remarkable, and now with Eddie Jones leading them,
They're a threat to any team.
no doubt. What's interesting is how they play. Their style is so different.
Genge described them as a punchy side.
Yeah, they move the ball quickly, keep their opponents guessing.
It's fast-paced, exciting to watch, and it works.
It really does. But Genge mentioned something else, too. He expects a wet and windy day at Twickenham.
Oh yeah, that could change things completely.
Absolutely. Heavy rain and wind could really mess with Japan's fast game plan.
It might actually play into England's hands.
It could.
They're known for their powerful forward pack.
Right. A slower, more physical game would suit them perfectly.
So the weather is a wild card.
It could decide which team's strengths shine and which team's weaknesses get exposed.
Okay, so before we get into the actual match preview, let's talk lineups.
That's good.
Who are the key players we should be watching on each side?
All right. Well, for England, we've got George Furbank at fullback, Tommy Freeman and Ollie Lawrence on the wings. They've got speed and they can score tries. And then up front, you've got the big guys, Ellis Genge, of course, and Jamie George, he's captaining from hooker.
Strong lineup.
It is. What about Japan?
Fills in.
They've got a good mix of experienced players and some exciting young talent. Takaro Matsunaga is starting at fullback. And look out for Joe Naikabula on the wing. He's dangerous. And of course, their captain, Naotsu Toto, he'll be running the attack from scrum half.
So both teams are bringing their best.
Absolutely setting the stage for an epic showdown.
And remember, we've got the clash of styles, the unpredictable weather, and then there's the Eddie Jones factor hanging over everything.
It's like a Shakespearean drama unfolding on the rugby pitch.
I'm already hooked.
Me too.
This match has it all, Pobid. High stakes, contrasting styles, and a story that's straight out of Hollywood.
Stay tuned, folks, because this deep dive is just getting started. Welcome back. Now let's really dig into the tactical side of things. What can we expect to see from England and Japan?
You know, it's fascinating how different these two teams are. Their styles are almost complete opposites.
Yeah.
How do you see this match playing out?
Well, England's always been known for their strong forward pack.
Right? Big, powerful guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've got a solid scrum, a well-organized line-out, and some really strong ball carriers like Genge, Jamie George Murrow, Itoje, the usual suspects.
So they could try to overpower Japan, win the battle up front.
That's the classic English strategy. Control the set pieces, wear down the opposition. But they've also got some exciting backs.
Oh, yeah. Guys who can really make things happen if they get some space.
Exactly. Players like Marcus Smith at fly half and Ollie Lawrence in the centers, they can bring pace and creativity to the attack.
So if the forwards can get in the ball quickly,
England's backs could cause all sorts of problems for Japan's defense.
that's a powerful combination. Brute force and flair.
It is. But we've also seen England struggle with consistency sometimes. They make mistakes under pressure.
Yeah, especially in those big games.
Right. And against a team like Japan coached by Eddie Jones.
Oh, man, Jones is not going to let them get away with anything.
No way. He's all about discipline or organization. He'll have Japan ready to pounce on any errors England makes.
And knowing Jones, he'll probably have some mind games planned, too.
Oh, absolutely. He'll be trying to get inside England's heads, disrupt their rhythm.
If England starts to panic?
Jones will be right there to capitalize on it.
Okay, so we've talked about England. Now let's flip it around.
Yeah.
What about Japan? What makes them such a tough opponent?
Speed agility. That's their game.
Yeah, they play this fast-paced attacking style.
Lots of quick passing offloads, keeping the ball moving, stretching the defense.
It's a joy to watch.
It is, unless you're the opposing team.
But remember what we said about the weather.
Right, the rain and wind.
It could really hurt Japan's game plan.
If it's a wet, slippery day, it'll be much harder for them to play their usual fast-flowing style.
A slower, more physical match.
That would definitely favor England.
So the weather is a huge factor here.
It really is. It could determine which team's strengths come to the forefront.
And which team's weaknesses get exposed.
Exactly. If it's heavy rain, England's power game might be too much for Japan to handle.
But if the weather's good and the pitch is dry,
Japan could really run England ragged.
it's going to be fascinating to see who adapts better.
Who can impose their style on the other?
This is a tactical battle that'll play out over 80 minutes.
And the outcome is anyone's guess.
And let's not forget the mental side of things.
Right. The pressure.
England needs to break their losing streak.
They need to prove they can beat their old coach.
And for Japan, this is a chance to make a statement, to beat a rugby powerhouse like England.
It would be huge for them.
It's a clash of ambitions, a test of character.
A story that goes beyond the sport itself.
It's more than just a game.
It's history in the making.
We're not just watching a match.
We're watching history unfold.
This deep dive has been amazing. We've talked tactics, psychology, history,
We've covered it all.
and now
We wait for the match itself.
to see how it all plays out on the field.
To see which team rises to the occasion.
This match has everything,
Passion, intensity, drama.
and moments of brilliance that can change the game in an instant.
It's what we love about rugby.
It's why we watch, why we analyze, why we get so invested.
But before we get too caught up in the emotion of it all,
Let's take a step back.
and look at the bigger picture,
The historical context to this rivalry.
to understand just how much this match really means.
So we've talked about all the tactical stuff, the mind games that might be going on, but to really understand what this match means, we got to look at the history between England and Japan.
It's a real clash of cultures when you think about it.
You've got England, one of the founders of
A
rugby,
long history of success.
and then there's Japan,
Relatively new to the sport.
but they've been improving so quickly in recent years.
It's been incredible to watch.
Their first match was way back in 1987.
The first Rugby World Cup.
England won pretty easily. But even then,
You could see that Japan had potential.
they just needed time to develop.
And then 2015 happened.
The Rugby World Cup right here in England
And Japan, led by, you guessed it, Eddie Jones.
pulled off one of the biggest upsets in rugby history.
They beat South Africa in their opening match.
I remember watching that game. I couldn't believe it.
The whole world was stunned.
It was a turning point for Japanese rugby.
They showed everyone they weren't just there to make up the numbers.
They were ready to compete with the best.
And they did. It was a tactical masterclass by Jones.
And the Japanese players were incredible.
So much heart and determination.
They won 2 more matches in that tournament.
Proved that the South Africa win wasn't a fluke.
And now, almost a decade later, they're back at Twickenham facing England again.
This time with Eddie Jones as their coach.
It's like something out of a movie.
The rugby gods have a sense of humor.
It really adds another layer to this match.
It's not just about the rivalry.
It's about how much rugby has changed.
How new powers are emerging.
And how this sport is becoming truly global.
It's been an amazing journey exploring this match with you.
We've covered so much.
The tactics, the psychology, the history.
And now all that's left is to see what happens on the field.
To watch these incredible athletes give it their all.
To see which team comes out on top.
It's going to be emotional.
It's going to be intense.
It's going to be rugby at its best.
This is more than just a game.
It's a celebration of everything we love about this sport.
The passion, the skill, the drama.
The unpredictable moments that make it so captivating.
As we get ready for kickoff.
I have one final question.
Hit me with it.
Can England overcome their struggles and beat their former coach?
Or will Eddie Jones pull off another masterstroke and lead Japan to victory?
Only time will tell. We want to hear from you. What are your predictions? Share your thoughts with us, and let's keep this conversation going. This is a match that will be talked about for years to come, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Until next time, may your passion for rugby burn bright.